Hello, welcome back to the ministry, and I'm picking up where I left off, where I was talking about what are your goals. Do you know that as children of God, whatever it is that we are putting our hands to in the name of God is our ministry, okay? This is why I think it's very important. A lot of people like to throw around the name kingdom marriage, but what are you doing for the kingdom in order to pertain that thing into a kingdom marriage? Because being married to the man has nothing to do with it being kingdom. You know, kingdom starts with the assignment first, right? You do know that, right? So, what is your assignment that God has given you? Do you know what your purpose on this earth is to do for God? Let us look at the scripture that talks about the talents. Remember, the people came before the king, and talents are actually huge bags of gold, okay? And this king said, I'm gonna give you 5, I'm gonna give you 10, and I'm gonna give you this amount. And he left them with that for a period of time, right? When he came back, he sought to find that they did something with what he gave them. One person buried it, another person multiplied it, getting double for what it is that they got in the first place, and the other person, they may not have gotten double, but they did increase it to a level of capacity. But the one that buried it, that king was furious. He's like, you couldn't have invested this? You couldn't have done something with this in order to multiply it, that I just didn't give it to you for you to bury it? God has given you actual talents, gifts. You are good at this. The things that you do that you don't even have to think about. What are those things? Do you know what those things are? Have you figured out what those things are? I need you to sit down and figure out what those things are. What do you do naturally? Me, I'm gifted at talking. If you met me in person, you would probably sit there and say to yourself, she don't talk at all. Which confuse most people, that you see me like this and would think that I'd be talking all day long. I only talk when I'm interested in talking. Plus, I know not to waste my verbiage on people that are a waste of time. So why am I going to sit and have conversation with somebody and waste my breath when I could be saving that breath for stuff like this? See how that works? So I don't speak unless I find you intriguing to talk to. Then I'm going to sit down and have a full conversation with you. Otherwise, I'm going to sit there and it's going to look like I don't care about nothing. I'll be staring at my phone the whole time. I have literally had people judge me because they saw me sitting and staring at my phone. I had no idea what's going on. It's hilarious to me. Anyway, do you know what your job is? Do you know what that is? Maybe you do have a gift of gab. Maybe you're supposed to be a counselor. Maybe you're supposed to be a speaker. You know that there are people that actually have open stages online, that if you know what you're talking about and you have figured out what your calling is, you can actually be able to get on these stages. But my thing is this: before I ever suggest for you to go on to these open public platform stages, let the Lord prune you. Because if you don't know what the purpose is, he needs to prune you for a season. Because first he's going to tell you what you're called to do. You're going to figure out, you're going to list those things down, and you're going to figure out your zone of genius within those things. And you're going to be like, yes, now let me run and do it. And God's going to say, sit your butt down and let me teach you something. I'm going to need you to open this word. You remember the movie, The Karate Kid? And the kid was sitting there. He's like, I'm not supposed to be doing karate. And the guy's standing there like, go wax my car. And he's like, but I'm supposed to be doing karate. I should be kicking and punching. go wax my car. And he's getting him to do all these household chores. And God's like, no. 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 So the element of it is you are getting the wisdom in order to prepare you. You will get that season where you will be in your wilderness. If you haven't entered a wilderness season, you ain't prepared for kingdom marriage yet, because you haven't gone through your wilderness yet. And your wilderness only takes as long as you allow it to take. I know people that go through seasons of wilderness that they have 3-month periods, 3-month sectionals that they go through elevation. Some people, they stay in one place for a year. Some people, they stay in a place for 2 years, 2.5 years. Because it took them that long to get through that revolving door. What did you do in order to cultivate your skill set to become an expert? Because God is cultivating that. In order for you to understand what your purpose is in ministry and then do it and understand that it's not always going to be ministry to this capacity. I devote this just like I devote 10% of my time. This is 10% of my creativity and whatever it is that I'm doing to God. And if I'm honest with you, I give 30%. So then the rest goes to whatever it is that I'm also part of my talents to do. You understand how that works? So what is it that you are called to do? Are you called to a creative field? Are you called to a web design? Are you called to be a podcaster? Are you called to be out here in the world? See, a lot of people get caught up in the fact that, oh, it's out there in the world. But 2 Corinthians 9:19 talks about that you become a slave to the world for God's sake. So what are you out here doing to go out to the many nations and disciple? Because when you have a calling, God will send you out. What you do in private, he will make you famous for publicly. What does fame do? It puts you out in the public eye so that you can make disciples of people by speaking his word and winning souls to God. So what are you doing to become a disciple of nations? And that can be any field. Are you a singer? And it doesn't always mean that you're a singer in gospel. There are people out here that sing in secular areas, and they're ministering to the secular people all the time. Those secular, what was Jesus doing? Was Jesus sitting amongst the Pharisees, ministering to the Pharisees, even though the Pharisees needed him to minister to them? He really did need to minister to them. But he wasn't sitting amongst them ministering. Where was he? Out there with the crackheads and the gamblers and sitting amongst all those people. That means going out in the world amongst those people. Now, that does not mean that you sit in them, because those that sit in the seat of sinners and all of it, you ain't sitting there getting comfortable. God will send you into those spaces, but you have to have the wisdom to know that God's going to pull you out too. Meaning, when God taps you on the shoulder and say, okay, I'm sending you in, but I need you to come out now. You can't be sitting, I like it over here. I'm friends with these people. And God's going to be like, okay, you want to be friends with those people? Remember what I said in the word of the year? Where I said that God will leave you to die in your promised land. Remember that part? Don't you go up in there getting... I'm going to be real honest with you. Some of your people was on the docket to go in this next thing that God's supposed to be sending. They was marked to be going out of here. But it was your prayers for your spouses, prayers for your family members, prayers to stand in that gap. God said, I am going to, just like when you put the blood on the doorpost in Passover, I'm going to pass over their house. Because you stood in the gap for them. Because I was about to take them out. It was going to be done for them. Because I've been talking to them too long and they've been ignoring me. But because you stood in the gap, I honor you. I'm not going to kill them. Okay? And this is what you're supposed to be doing, going into these places to help these individuals. You understand how that works? So that's what you're out here doing. So understand, God will send you into any field, web design, podcasting, out in the entertainment industry, acting, singing, all of these areas. This is why he needs to partner you up with somebody that has a level of influence, because that person going to need to cover you where God about to send you. That's why you're in a kingdom marriage. Not because you be like, ooh, he looks cute, I want to be married to him. What the hell are you doing? Go sit down in your little corner somewhere and figure out what you're supposed to be doing on this earth. Because this ain't about being cute. This is about saving souls. Ministering, praying with people, delivering folks. What are we out here doing? Do you know what you're called to do? And are you in the right office? Are you a teacher, preacher, prophet, evangelist? What you doing? Do you know your office? Because if you're in the wrong office, you're going to get attacked because you're in the wrong office and you think you're supposed to be over here and you were never called to that. Sit with the Lord. Remember I just told you in the previous video how to pray? I'm going to need you to set that before God, and I'm going to need you to pray into those areas. What am I here to do? How am I supposed to do this? Go to him. Because if you don't know this, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. I've been doing this. That's how I know that my blessings are coming, because I've been doing this. Get ready. Know what God is calling you to do. Understand the work that he's called you to do so that you can step into it. That's why the enemy's going to come against you. Not because you already in the wrong place. And the enemy already got you if you're not in the right headspace. So I'm hoping this blessed you. I'm sorry if I'm being a little harsh, but I'm going to need you to get that together. Then I'm going to come back and we're going to dig a little deeper. All right? So I'll see you in the next one. Until next time.